I think possibly one of the best coffee machines on the market for use in a camper van. Just before we get into this video, I'd just like to apologise for the flicker that is on this video. Unfortunately, the camera that I would use to normally film this type of video is out of action at the moment, which has meant I've had to film it on a different camera, and that camera unfortunately is not great when there are lighting and stuff. You get quite a bit of flicker, and that's what you'll see throughout this video. So apologies, but I hope you enjoy the video anyway. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about a new product that we have bought for the camper van. Specifically, Lou actually bought me this, having seen it on the internet. It's called the Outin Nano. It is a portable coffee machine, which actually I think, and I've only used this probably for about a week or so, I think it's possibly one of the best portable coffee machines that I've seen on the market. It's fantastic to use. So yeah, let's get into this. Now, in the interest of full transparency, I have had this out of the box, but I think it's a really nice packaging, so I thought it might be nice to show you what it comes in the box and sort of how it's packaged. So let's get into this. So, in a nice box, it's got a bit of detail on the front about, you know, how you could use it and stuff. Head onto the inside, there's some blurb, which is interesting that this is the first thing you come to. It's like a sort of frequently asked questions on the product, like, okay, what's not right, you know, things you should do, things you shouldn't do, why is it not charging, stuff like that. So it's interesting. I wonder whether that's an addition that they've put in since they've released this product. And then underneath that you've got a full how-to guide, so a user guide and a bit of a more simplified way of how to use it. And then underneath that you have the actual coffee machine. So that is the Outin Nano, that's the actual coffee machine, which is very good. That's it. It's quite heavy, that's the first thing I will say. Available in a range of colours. I've gone for the sort of, or Lou went for the grey sort of black colour, or I guess maybe charcoal you would call that. So that's that. And then also in here you get a cup, which you can use or not use. I've not been using this because, and I'll come on to that shortly. It comes with a small portafilter, which is what you put your ground coffee in to extract espresso. So that's one way of using this machine. So that's that. It also has a dosing sort of cup, so you can put the right amount of coffee into the portafilter. That's also used as a tamper, so you would empty the coffee into the portafilter and tamp it. It also comes with a small USB-C to USB-C charging cable. The other thing about the Outin Nano, and that is in here, is it also does coffee pods. So I think these are the Nespresso type pods. If I'm wrong on that, I will put that on screen now. But that's what it comes with. So it comes with not only the option to use coffee pods, but it also comes with the option to use proper ground coffee to make a more authentic espresso. The machine itself is battery powered. I'll put on screen the size of the battery because that's very, very interesting. It is able to heat the water, boil the water basically. Maximum amount of water space in the top area to put water is 80 milliliters, and there's some guides on the side which I'll put on screen now that show you where to fill it. It will boil that water, takes probably about 2 or 3 minutes, and then the water would come through and either go through your coffee pod or through your ground coffee at pressure, although I don't think it's probably as high a pressure as like a traditional home coffee espresso machine, for obvious reasons, its size and its power capabilities. The other scenario you can use this, that's if you put cold water in. You can put boiling water in this, which is what we have been doing in the times we've been using it, because often when we make a brew I'll be having a coffee, but Lou will be having a tea. So there is hot water already, or boiling water, and you can put that in the top, and then it's a different action to get it to not boil it and just put it through. But yeah, let's dive into a bit more of the detail about this. Right, so in order to pull a shot of a pod coffee, you take the base, as I said, you put your pod in, make sure you press it right down. See how that's right down. You upend that into the bottom of the machine, like so. You screw that onto the bottom of the Outin, making sure that's nice and tight. Then you top this up with water. Now, the optimal for a more authentic espresso is 50 ml. So we're going to top this up to 50 ml on the line, like so. And then in order to boil the water, we're going to press and hold the button for 2 seconds until it beeps. Once it beeps, that means you know that it's heating the water. And then you'll notice on the front here, there's 4 lights. What it does is it flashes basically one, make sure you put the lid on. It flashes 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then it does a beep before it extracts, which is ideal because it means you can then get your cup in place. Now, what I found is if you're making, say, an Americano, or you're making something that you're going to add milk to and you don't want to drink it out of the cup that comes with, it's better to extract it into the mug that you're going to drink from, because that way you won't lose the crema that you get on the top when you're then transposing it into another cup. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to extract it into the cup that comes with the machine. But as you can see, this is heating up. See how it's gone to 2 lights now? That means it's heating up. So we'll allow this to get to a boil. I'll put an on-screen timer in so you can see how long it actually takes, and then we'll pick this up when it starts to pull the shot. I think we're getting close to temperature now, because you can just hear that, you know, when you get those sort of bubbles in boiling water that sort of give that sound that it's nearly boiled. So I think we're getting close now. As I say, once it's boiled, it will beep to tell you that it's boiled. See, now we're on to the 4th flashing light. That means it's close to being boiled. Once that's steady, it'll give another beep, and then we'll hold it over this cup to extract it. As I say, you could have it does actually sit on the cup. I've just chosen not to do that simply because I've been using it, extracting it into the cup I want to actually drink it out of. And there we have it. And now you can hear it's doing its thing, extracting the coffee. There we go. And there we have it, that is the shot extracted. What I've found is it will continue to try to pull whatever water is left in the reservoir, which makes that quite loud noise, which says that there's no water left in it, so I tend to turn it off at that point. But let's have a look at this shot it's pulled. So as we can see, nice bit of crema on the top. Nice dark colour. I will put on screen what temperature when it boils it itself it gets to, because I know that will be interesting to some people, but let's have a taste. So yeah, just a nicely well-rounded espresso. I mean, it's good flavour considering it's a pod. I don't have a pod machine at home. I have a bean to cup machine at home. But yeah, perfectly acceptable coffee, and significantly better than what I've previously been using in the van, which is coffee bags, which I'll be honest, I tend to find a little bit watery. But yeah, so that's how you extract a pod. Let's move on to how you extract a shot with some ground coffee. So as you can imagine, when dealing with ground coffee, it is a little bit more messy than the pods. I guess that's why a lot of people like the pods, but I really do like the flavour that you get from extracting fresh coffee. So this is some coffee that I've ground up finely with my bean to cup machine at home. I did that yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Way more than I need, but we did take some of this away with us. So right, so you take the sort of the dosing cup and you fill that with coffee. Now I found if you just take a fairly level spoonful or cut, like measuring of it, that should be fine. Now the easiest way I found to fill the portafilter is if you upturn the portafilter on the cup, turn it over, that sort of minimises the amount that you would spill. Quick tap on the top, take it off, and then you can start tamping it. Now it is a little bit messy, which is why, as you can see, I've got a piece of kitchen paper on the table, but then a good press on that. You don't want to go too far on this. I think I would say most people that are buying this possibly already have a coffee machine at home, so we'll sort of know the pitfalls on that. So there we go, we've tamped our coffee into the portafilter, and you can see that probably about 80% full. I think that's what it recommends in the manual. And then you replace the top on that nice and firmly, like so, and that basically seals the coffee in there. You drop that in the bottom of the machine, much like the other, the pod type, and then again you very carefully screw that into the bottom of the machine, and you just make sure that's really, really tight. So like that. And again, we're going to put 50 ml of water in there. Because that's the recommended for a good shot. There we go, 50 ml of water. And again, we're just going to leave this to do its thing. This time, just so that it's just slightly less faff, I'm going to, and because I am extracting into the cup, I'm going to put it on the cup. So literally, you can just drop it on the cup like so. And it sits on the cup very nicely. Makes a nice little unit, to be fair. And then again, I'm going to hold the button for 2 seconds until it beeps, and then wait for it to extract. So if we just look at that, you can see that obviously this is ground coffee as opposed to a capsule, so you know, a significantly darker and thicker layer of crema, and I don't know whether you can see that, but a much darker coffee. Let's have a taste. Nice extraction. To be honest, that doesn't taste a million miles away from when I extract in my bean to cup machine inside at home. Which is surprising given a portable coffee machine has made this. So yeah, it's impressive. Right, let's talk a little bit more about facts and figures. So the Outin Nano, I'll put the battery sort of milliamp on screen now and the charge time of it, but the recommended sort of how many brews etc you can get from the machine is, if you're doing 50 ml, it's saying 4 to 5 if it's boiling the water. If you're doing 80 ml, which is the maximum amount of water it can do, it will do 2 to 3 per battery. If you're doing boiling water in it, the battery, it says, will last up to 200 plus times, 200 plus shots, because obviously it's using significantly less power because it's not boiling the water. What other things do you need to know? I will put on screen now whether the when the top is on, is it waterproof? And I think anyone that's thinking of maybe getting this to maybe use on a hike, that wants to put water in the reservoir with it in your rucksack, and then wherever you want to pour your shot of coffee, whether it leaks or not, I'll put that on screen whether that's a viable option or not. It looks like it possibly is, but it's whether with it rattling about in your bag while you're walking along, whether it will leak from the top. I think it'll be all right, but I'll put on screen now whether it is okay. And a portable coffee machine. You could literally go and use this anywhere. You could go for a walk and use it. Obviously, it's perfect for a camper van because you can just, wherever you are, you can get it out and use it. It is rechargeable. So you recharge it by USB-C. It does take a while to charge, I have to say that, and especially it specifically says in the manual that it must be a 5-volt 3-amp charger. If you try and charge it via a 1-amp charger, it won't charge. And I think from what I'd read on some of the Amazon reviews, some people are saying it doesn't charge, but I think there's possibly been a bad batch of the machines that haven't charged properly from what I see. But there's also been quite a few where people are plugging it into a not powerful enough charger and that's not charging it. But yeah, what a fantastic bit of kit this is. Right, let's talk a little bit about mess. Now, one thing that puts me off using, say, an AeroPress, which is what I have got an AeroPress, I just find, although it makes fairly good coffee, I find it a bit of a faff to clean out and stuff. And obviously there's lots of bits and bobs to it. Just, I don't know, I find it really annoying. I know lots of people swear by an AeroPress, and that's fair enough. In terms of cleaning on this, so if you use the pods, obviously the only thing you need to do is wipe out the pod holder, wipe out the bottom of the machine, and then obviously wipe out the top where the water is, and then obviously it's ready for another use. Now with the ground coffee, little bit more tricky. So obviously unscrew the bottom, and obviously there'll be a little bit of water in the top, which is not a problem. This part, very simple to clean. You give that a rinse under the tap, dry it out, very simple. Now, because of the fact that unlike say a home coffee machine, bean to cup or whatever you use, an espresso machine, there's enough pressure to compress the coffee into a puck. Unfortunately on this machine that's not the case. Although it does compress it somewhat, it doesn't compress it enough to just one hit and it's out. It remains as like a sort of a slightly compacted puck, which means it doesn't come out very easily, and certainly in my experience. So you would have to upturn that, give it a good tap, and nothing will happen. And there we go, it does come out, like I say, but this will now obviously need a rinse to get rid of the ground coffee, and then obviously you dispose of your coffee there, and then obviously everything gets washed in the sink, dried, and then it's ready for the next use. So let's sum up the machine. So as I say, it's a portable coffee machine, boils the water to a decent temperature as well, to be fair, for drinkable coffee. It will work anywhere provided it's got charge, so top of a mountain, if you want to make yourself a coffee you can do. Obviously it's small, which means it fits really easy into our camper van. Battery life I think could be better. Obviously only getting say maybe 3 or 4 boils of water and shots out is not brilliant. Having said that though, obviously the size of the unit dictates that it has to have a fairly small battery, so there are obviously mitigating circumstances in that. Using boiled water in it though, which I think is probably what most people I think would do in a camper van, because of the fact that more often than not they'll be boiling water anyway. Obviously 200 plus uses in a battery charge is fantastic. I like the versatility of it, the fact that you can use pods and you can also use ground coffee. Now a note on that, if you buy ground coffee from the supermarket, that is not going to be suitable to pull an espresso shot from this. Ground coffee in the supermarkets tends to be quite coarsely ground, which is ideal for like filter coffees and cafetières. When you're doing an espresso, it needs to be quite a fine grind, which means you would need to have a separate standalone grinder, whether it be a hand one or an electric one. But yeah, like I said, I like the versatility of it, be it using ground coffee and also using pods, and it just makes really good coffee. I've used the espresso, the Starbucks espresso pods, fantastic, and obviously I'm using ground coffee, which if you're interested is a Starbucks espresso roast. I really like that. Both of those produce really nice coffees. I would say the ground coffee is slightly better, or quite a bit better actually in my opinion, than the pods, but obviously significantly less faff with the pods than the ground coffee. Price point, Lou bought this, so I don't know for absolutely 100%, but I think this was $149.99. I'll put the actual price on the screen. I think that's quite expensive, but given what you're getting, so it's quite expensive when you compare it to, say, other alternatives such as an AeroPress or a cafetiere for that matter. But for what it actually does, for the boiling water, the convenience, the portability, the fact it's got its own battery, I actually think that's a decent price point, especially for the quality of the unit. It's a very good quality unit. Yeah, so a fantastic machine. I think possibly one of the best coffee machines on the market for use in a camper van. I've not seen anything that's quite as good as this. So if anyone has seen something that's similar or better, get down in the comments below and let me know. I'm always interested in coffee machines. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say on this. Little review of a new piece of equipment we've got for the van. Really pleased with it so far, but I guess you'll see it popping up, I'm guessing, in future trip videos. So obviously if there is any thing that feedback on the longer term use of it, we'll pop that in those videos. We hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, drop it a like down below. If you have any queries about this coffee machine, get in the comments and ask away, and we'll try and answer whatever we can. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.